We're going to have to start looking at things just a little bit differently than we have. Because I think the net effect of all of this is that we're tired. There's what I call kind of diversity and inclusion fatigue. We're tired of having the same conversations, tired of talking past each other, frustrated that we're having same conversations that we've had generations past. So there is that fatigue, and oftentimes it just manifests itself in silence. We just don't want to say anything lest we say the wrong thing. But we're going to change that. If there's one thing that the diversity and inclusion movement has often gotten wrong is it's failed to talk about why it matters. We often understand what, and we will respond. We'll say, oh yeah, that makes sense. I heard Judy say, yep, this is what we need to do, and she'll get the head bob. But why is where discretionary effort comes from. That's when you really start to invest your time, when you move from hoping to believing. Let's look at just what's happening right now as we're speaking. Look at how much the nation is changing. So this idea that we can remain in our kind of own isolated worlds, particularly around movements, whether it's environmental education, whether it's disability, whether it's diversity. This demographic reality is going to force us to find degrees of partnership or mutuality. So these things are having effects. Here's one of them. We're going to live longer, all of us. Aren't you excited to hear that? We're going to live longer. And we're going to live in an America that is much like what I saw when I walked the streets of London. There will be no clear racial or ethnic majority. And we know that because today, if you took the number of all the children born in the United States, over half of them are children of color. Demographic reality, demographic fact, not going anywhere. We're going to have to think of inclusion now, not as something that's nice to do, which is kind of where we've been. It's kind of corrective action thing. Nice thing to do, right thing to do, important, and you get the diversity. I call it the diversity head bob. Everybody goes, yep, that matters. That matters. It's important. But if we are to take on the challenges of our time, we're going to have to think about this as necessary to everything that we do, not something that we'll get to just a little bit later. Or we're going to find ourselves relegated, globally in particular, as an afterthought. And we and our children and our grandchildren and great-grandchildren, they will read about what we failed to do. And they'll say America lost its place in the world largely because it refused to get out of its isolated ideologies. That's what awaits us. But there's still plenty of time to change that. And these are going to be the frontiers. This is fundamentally now an issue of access in critical areas like healthcare, education, and one near and dear to your heart, sustainable communities. But there's also the intersection of all of those things that are going to matter to us. This is clearly an urgent time. Is there an opportunity to add inclusion as a strategic goal? Push the envelope here. And you can say, well, maybe, maybe not. But it's something that we'll have to think about. And because we have those common mindsets, because we approach things so similarly, better, actually, who better to show the way is to be done than EE? So where is it to come from? Where's this idea, commonality, to come from? And who's to say that it can't come from us? And who's to say that it can't come from within this room?